Big Moves Podcast, episode 24.
Big Moves Podcast, episode 24, and on our way to many more.
Yeah. So if you've been tuning in, we're going to take a break from your story.
Taking a break, yeah.
There's chapter 3 coming one of these days.
There is, and it's also kind of mirroring or, kind of running parallel with the movie. So we just finished with the script.
Okay.
Some modifications, and now we're going to be going to pre-casting or something like that. I'm not too sure.
Awesome.
Totally new.
That's awesome. That's
and I found out that we are actually going to be there will be like a movie premiere, and we're putting together a trailer and all these things. Yeah, bizarre.
Okay, I think we need a whole episode dedicated to...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to get ahead.
But that's kind of running alongside with the story of what happened and with me and whatnot. So that's awesome. That's a lot to go into just one episode. Mm-hmm. So we'll be watching kind of both of these things progress together, and soon we'll be able to do both and like kind of just give everybody like the what's what on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I got a lot of questions.
Lots of questions. I know everybody does, and so it's like this. It's kind of like the app. A lot of people had questions about what is their project. What's going on, Bo? Did you guys do something new with the house? They have questions, and so we created the app, and so the app gives them progress updates, pictures, a new front red door, new metal black roof, so on and so forth. We answered their questions in a very clear, transparent way, and so that is essentially what the podcast and the movie do is they answer a lot of questions, because when you Google me, you're like, oh wow, real estate, a pitch. What the heck is this? And that's scary. And yeah, of course. So there's a lot of questions that will be answered, and I'm excited to get that out. And even so, the dramatic effect, because it's not focused around me, it's focused around God with the movie, which is amazing. And it's that's the true winner story here, is something happened miraculously in my life where you would never think that we would be in this position now from where I was not too long ago. So, I mean, it was a long time ago now, but it happened in 2013, but it seems like it was yesterday. And then to have come this far in such a short period of time is pretty God inspiring. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. But other than that, I don't know what we're going to talk about the golf course today.
Yeah, we can talk about that. It's been a few weeks since we put an episode out. We've been really busy.
We have been.
A lot of things have happened.
I guess we could talk about some gala. The gala was fun.
Yeah, we had the gala. That was so funny backstory with that though.
Okay.
Because that the gala started with a conversation you and I had.
Yes.
About just bringing a couple of buddies of mine to just meet you, and maybe we'd have a burger or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know, this is one of the things that I admire about Bo, and I feel this. The admiration also comes from the fact that I've been in positions where I've from a fraction of what you're doing is be this idea person, and your brain is always, at least from what it seems to me on the outside, is your brain is always ideas all the time, almost I don't want to say uncontrollable, but and I really admire it. Some people probably think it's chaos, but I think it's really awesome, because
I try to coordinate the chaos as much as I can.
Because I think some of the greatest things that have come through humanity, things that humans have made, have come from people who have really wild ideas. I went to a Leonardo da Vinci exhibit.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
The guy was probably a madman. He probably
way beyond his time. Yeah. With helicopter,
but he
he
just had ideas, and he was I don't think a lot of people understand that he not only did he paint the Mona Lisa, and the Last Supper, which are some of the greatest pieces of artwork probably ever painted. Yeah. But his mechanical idea,
his engineering
was amazing, and ideas. A lot of it's
the helicopter.
Yeah, helicopter.
He thought about the helicopter. Yeah. I mean, Could you imagine back then
no.
thinking of like, well, let's put him, he must have been playing with something and, or just watching nature rather.
Sure.
There's these little pea pods that fall from these trees where
Yeah.
I grew up. They come out of the pine cones, I believe. And they helicopter down.
Right.
And we used to grab them and drop them and loved it.
Yeah.
So taking probably, I'm sure, in which I did. I think I saw some of his paintings where it was, he was incorporating wings like a bird, and he actually may have sketched a bird outline. But nature and God's own creation and what we've been able to modify it with,
Yeah.
So it wasn't his idea, it was God's idea.
Sure. But I think that what he had that I think that you also have is this unbridled method of thinking where all of your ideas are always I don't know if they come to you and then you sit with them, but you put them out there and maybe they don't they might all take.
So here's the thing. I have a lot of ideas, but I calculate which ones are better to put out.
Sure.
And which ones will sister on to our current businesses, right? I don't want to, because I've had crazy ideas. Like I thought about Guitar Hero before Guitar Hero was a thing, like literally. And I'm like, but I do real estate, and this was a long time ago, and I like couldn't put any effort into that. And look what that became, because everybody wants to be able to play the guitar, but if you've ever tried to play the guitar, it's like painful for the tips of your fingers, number one, at least for my fingers it was. And there's a lot of memorization. You have to feel the rhythm, and I'm just not the musically inclined. I'm more the mechanically engineer, whatever type mind. And sure enough, it came out. So what I do is I calculate what ideas I can basically start using resources on. And will this idea accompany one of our current businesses? And will it go alongside in some way, support it in some symbiotic relationship?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I try to, because there's so many, but I try to focus it and funnel it down to a defined real estate mechanism.
Sure.
Typically.
But it's getting back to the gala. This seed was sort of planted of like, hey, let's have an evening thing.
I must say, the seed was planted by my friend Neil Kohlhaas. And if Neil's listening to this, Neil, we'll give this your idea. Neil has been putting together these luncheons on a high level here, Fleming Steakhouse and all these things for executive level members. And when you said, hey, my friends would love to be able to do this. Now Neil is talking to, executive level, sometimes billionaire folks. And then you are talking about, and we're in Orange County, but a little bit more modest investment range, right? But that was the beauty of this, is we can incorporate both of them. And I thought, well, what better way than take this up to the fullest notch, right? So what did you think about it?
Well, it was fun.
You handled a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it was funny. So it was like, hey, Bo, can we just have a dinner with my buddies that are interested in? And then I get a phone call from Bo about an hour later. It's going to be in 3 weeks. It's going to be at this mansion in Corona del Mar. Catering, bartender,
Dr. Julian,
red carpet event. I'm like, okay.
Valet.
I have a funny story about the valet, by the way.
Oh, please.
As you know, I was involved in a big part of sort of organizing and arranging.
Of course you
all
were,
these
yeah.
things. And I pulled up, and I didn't want to dress up because I still had to set things
Did somebody ask you to park the car?
No, but I was refused parking service.
Oh, even worse. Oh my goodness.
I think he thought I was maybe like a bartender or server. He says, no, you got to park your car yourself. It's for guests only.
He didn't see all your video equipment or anything?
No,
like
I mean, he saw me unloading, but I was sort of dressed down because I wanted to change before, because I
you were dressed down. Well, I mean, you're in Corona del Mar.
Yeah.
You're at a mansion, but you got to be careful. That's a perfect example, You're a high-level executive with Belwood Investments, You have arrived here on your jet and have been shuttled via helicopter here. You just haven't had time to dress.
No.
He didn't know.
No, he didn't know. I didn't get upset, but I looked down, I'm like, oh, I get it why you're. there's limited parking here, and I'm like, hey man, like I'm
People are so shallow.
yeah. I said, yeah, I've got a lot of things to do, man. I don't have time to go park my car, and he understood, but that was actually pretty funny.
He quickly understood.
He
later
quickly
on,
understood, yeah.
Did you have to flash your Rolex?
Yeah. So yeah, but the gala was awesome. It was really fun. I think what I got from that by the end of the night was that the people that were there they really enjoyed themselves. Mm-hmm. People had a really good time.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of surprising compliments from people that I didn't even know. And they're like, hey, great job. This is really awesome.
It was
and
a
I'm
great
like,
production.
Cool,
Yeah.
great, Mm-hmm. More importantly, I mean, I guess the question would be, did we get the response that we wanted from putting that event on?
So good question. So here's the thing, it's like the real estate ripple effect, and it's found in different ways, right? And, nothing is ever immediate when it comes to real estate. Mm-hmm. Even when you buy a home, you can't just buy a home in 5 minutes. It's not a bag of chips. Sure. It's not even a car where you could go onto a lot and, you have to wait for certain things to take place. And so there's these ripple effects. Now, in real estate, this happens at the acquisition level. This happens at the lending level. This happens at interest rates, every aspect of it. Now, what we did was plant seeds and build relationships with people that perhaps may share. They may never invest with Belwood. This may never be their cup of tea, but they may share this with somebody who will. And so that whole premise of that meeting was just to share who is Belwood. We're here in Orange County right now. We've already established ourselves in Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, Arcadia, Santa Barbara, Newport Beach, and we'd like to do more business with people that love real estate but may not have the time, resources, or the capital to do it all by themselves. Yeah. So that's essentially what it was. Now, is there a monetary value of that? No, I mean, it could be priceless. There's so many different things down here. A relationship could be built with a national whatever company or fund or whatever, and this ignites some beautiful relationship that maybe we don't even need to go public and we just become this massive entity. Mm-hmm. There's so many things, and that's what's cool about God is like, hey, he does these miracles. So we're just going to keep planting these seeds and waiting for the relationships to come to fruition.
Sure, and we'll do it again, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That was fun. So somebody had asked, Robert, who owns the company who helped put this on, he had said, when's our next event? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, my goal is to have one of these at some of our higher end listings. We have some listings in $10s and $15 million, and it would be nice to not only put on a presentation and share how we had gotten to that milestone, but also showcase the property with realtors and just kind of showcase what Belwood is. Sure. And what a better, format. Like, we'll have the attention of realtors because it's a new listing. And then we get to share with investors or neighbors and see how this all happened. And so with that production, I told him, Robert, I want to rinse and repeat, the same food vendors, the same DJ, the same red carpet, the same valet, create that relationship so we can streamline this and save a bunch of money, which is in essence what Belwood does, right? Yeah. So that's all about Belwood is rinse and repeat, build these relationships, plant the seed, and just let it grow.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And it could be
I'm
better.
glad you did.
I did.
I'm glad you did.
I was a little stressed out, but
I'm glad you weren't parking cars.
I almost did. I almost got put to work.
Yeah, you're like, dude, it doesn't matter. Where have you been? Where have you been?
Yeah.
You're 20 minutes late. Go park that car. You're like, I'm the wrong guy. Tell me later. I met the guy. He was a little bit overbearing in a little bit of a way.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So that was fun. Just before that, the acquisition of the 1614 Viewmont.
So that closed actually. So we had gotten in contract, but that closed today.
Oh.
We closed Bill Whithers, which it's on Viewmont, but we call it Whithers View.
Whithers View.
Because we have two other Viewmonts, and so it's Viewmont New View and Whithers View instead of the numbers.
Okay.
That's how the
that's-
office
yeah.
remembers them.
Withers View. Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
Viewmont, the
Yeah.
original, the
Sure.
OG.
Yeah.
New View and
Yeah.
Whithers View.
And when you say they're on the same street, they're like literally neighbors.
They're directly across from one another.
Yeah, two are side by side and one's directly across.
Yeah. Talk about a nice block party we'll have there. What about a presentation for that? That's going to be amazing.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
I think so.
And we haven't really discussed that property, but let's talk about that really quick.
Okay,
because
which
it's
one?
Withers View, because it's a
Okay.
really unique property because
Oh, well, Bill Whithers,
Bill
right?
Whithers, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Lean on me, yeah. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, yep.
So I think he passed away, I want to say 2020, 21.
2020,
Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
And then what happened with the property after that? I mean, it was sold.
So my friend bought it. He's my friend now, who I'm buying it from.
Okay.
So Francisco bought it from the family, the Whithers family, and which was an emotional process for them, right? Because he was very much attached to this property. You can tell because there's handprints of the family and his name and their family. Like, oh, it's just beautiful, right? It was a very, very loved home and very well taken care of. So he bought it from them and shared with them after his renovation. And now Francisco he has this successful marketing firm, took up this opportunity in Portugal and is like, taking his next step in life. And so we were able to take this down very quick for him, get it at a price that we need it to be at, add the pool, which is necessary, and be able to make a profit. So it's a true win-win. But this house is amazing.
Yeah.
It's got the original studio. I don't know if it's not his original studio, but it was his studio. It's untouched, and we have all the equipment in it. So I think Wiz Khalifa just did a song in there not that long ago, from what I hear.
So did he turn it to an Airbnb or what was the?
No, so Viewmont was an Airbnb.
Okay.
But Francisco lived there, and I think his nanny, or not his nanny, but his housekeeper may have lived there. He had a few roommates, but it was total bachelor's pad.
okay.
I went in there,
Okay.
It's amazing. But what it does have is it's got a mid-level deck, a gym, outdoor, indoor gym, which is super cool. It's got a cold plunge that I would never use, which I still have mine in the garage that I've used 3 times.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I got the it's like, it's not a blow up one, but it's you can take it down or whatever.
Yeah.
It's got the refrigerant, so that's the kind of the
I see.
expensive
Okay.
part of it. So it's got the recirculator, but I got it and I've used it twice, and I'm not super proud of that. But I am getting a gym membership, and I'm gonna start using it
Nice.
more often. I'm telling myself that.
Awesome.
So Whithers View and exercise.
So what else has come since Bill Whithers?
We got another Beverly Hills home. I thought, that one's pretty good. That one's on Loma Vista. Did you know?
Oh, yeah.
1925 Loma
Yes.
Vista. So
Yeah,
now we have 1855, 1925 Loma Vista. And I'm actually in negotiations for 1965 Loma Vista. There's also one down the street in Truesdale that the agency, it's a relationship that we've built over time with Jean-Baptiste and Mehdi, great realtors. They like to watch our podcast too. Great guys. So if you're ever looking to buy in Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, they're amazing guys. Jean-Baptiste and Mehdi, Mari, just great guys. So they have a client who has a property in Truesdale not too far. He doesn't want to take a big loss on it, but he's interested in some sort of partnership. So this would give us 4 homes in Truesdale, all within, rock throwing distance. I don't think people throw rocks in Truesdale. Diamonds, they throw diamonds. But they would all be in a condensed area, allowing us to use our resources in a relatively small area, the same way what we're doing in Viewmont. So it's very difficult to run multiple projects in the Hollywood Hills. It may be 1 mile, but it'll take you a day to get there at the wrong time. So this was strategic. This was calculated. And this is going to enable us to, in essence, be like a new builder. Imagine just a new builder being able to grab like 5 lots in Truesdale to build their home. Like this just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So we've been able to basically monopolize these areas and then set price per square foot comps along the way. I've done it before. I've bought several homes in a cul-de-sac, and I sold one, and I set the price per value for the next and the next and the next. And I rose the value single-handedly by 25% just by doing that model. There's no rule that's saying you can't use your previous home as a comp.
Sure. Yeah. Wow.
So it was amazing. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
I didn't know that about the other 2 properties.
Yes, so this was on Aurelius. It was in Orangeville. It was on Aurelius, and I forget, it started with a C. And it was a cul-de-sac, and I bought one on the corner and then right on the inside, the first 3 right there. And I just set all the comps.
That's awesome.
It was great, yeah. It worked out perfectly, you know.
And it's happening again.
It's happening now 3 times. Once in in the Hollywood Hills and once in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
So very cool. Awesome. Now it needs to happen in Newport Beach. Let's make that happen, or Corona Del Mar. Let's find 3 houses in a row on the cliffside there. We have one in China Cove coming up.
Oh,
which is a beautiful place. We're just waiting on one of the lenders. It's not a bankruptcy, a foreclosure. The borrower, which was someone who did something similar to us but lost. So I think he ran up their debt to $6.5 million, and now they're going to be accepting our offer at $5 million.
Wow.
So it's $1.5 million loss. I think there's one signer that's just like holding out.
Wow.
So once he's able to kind of digest this L, we'll be able to buy that and move forward, which resale on that's $15 million minimum.
Is in Corona Del Mar?
China Cove. Very exclusive.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
very
think I know
exclusive.
what it is. That's...
Yeah, so it's off Ocean Boulevard, and it's right where it cul-de-sacs. There's a private road that goes down to a private beach.
Oh, yes.
Very exclusive.
Okay, I know. Yeah.
And, it's so beautiful. But it would be an amazing renovation. Not a teardown, renovation.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, big one.
Wow.
Double your money, big one. Yeah.
I have a lot of people that would be excited to hear about that once it's ready to go.
Because they know the area.
Yeah.
They know the area. And that's the thing is I get investors for different areas because they're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so much value in other areas. Like this golf course that we're buying. This whole area is going to blow up because it's right in the path of the growing grapes from Napa. Now, Napa, if you look at Napa, the city of Napa, like you don't grow grapes there. It's a city. Mm-hmm. It's like, but previously, all around there used to be grapes, but it's just grown into a city, pushing all the grapes north, right? It's all about price per square foot. You know, are those grapes netting me more money, or is turning this into a commercial building or a restaurant going to net me more money, right? And so that's happened to Napa. It's the city of Napa. It's just been consumed by business. And so everything's moved up. It's moved up so far to Healdsburg and Geyserville, which runs along a canyon. And then there's one canyon or valley that hits at Calistoga and stubs up at Mount St. Helena. And then there's one that goes around Mount St. Helena, and it goes into Pope Valley. Tremendous amount of grapes growing in there. And there's a free valley right there of a cheap real estate that if investors in Orange County knew about the potential value there, they wouldn't even care because it's like 100x value. I was in contract to buy 700 acres for $600,000. Mm-hmm. Okay, you just don't get that anywhere. That's just crazy. 700 acres is old. That's like a mile from one end to the other if it was a cube.
Sure.
So or a square. So there is that area, but people, you know, they're just like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't really understand. But that's where our golf course is. So imagine having a golf course surrounded by grapes and in a beautiful area. That's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So this golf course, not only is it going to start netting money at $1 million is what I'm buying it for, it's not only going to start, you know, paying out massive dividends, at least 25% annually, but it's going to be worth 10 to 15 times what we bought it for. So $10 to $15 million is what I would sell these 35 acres with the restaurant, with the pro shop, with everything in about 10 years. So think about retirement right there. Like that is, and it's all based on real estate, and I can show trends. I can see the growth. It's not like the growth is going to stop and say, oh, no, we've gone too far. No, humans are still being born. That will continue growth.
Yeah.
More humans are turning 21 and drinking wine. That's not going to, people have been drinking wine since the medieval days.
Maybe
They're not
before.
going to just stop. Oh, we're done with this. No matter how much regulation, and California is not going to put regulation on wine because it's a huge tax crop for them. But they will on tobacco. You can't grow tobacco here. Weed is, questionable. But grapes, nope. That's California's pride and joy, our agriculture, and especially wine. So with that being said, that's where I'm focusing a lot of attention on is, where else can you get 1,000 acres for $1 million? Like that just doesn't happen. But here it does.
Wow.
So really excited to be going into that area in the golf course, which the golf course may or may not hit the app soon. And if it does, I would recommend people jumping on that. But it might be consumed another way. So very cool area.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening.
Some would say an exhausting amount, but I feel not so. Because what we are taking on are businesses that use or operate with our current resources. It's not like I'm saying, oh my gosh, shave ice is amazing, which it is. And it's very profitable because it's ice and that's water, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a cheap, and I see value in that. But what uses what resources do I have that can handle that? Up in Loch Lomond, sure, we have a restaurant and bar and all that. I could definitely do it up there. But down here in Orange County, that's just not my thing. If I had a chain of restaurants, maybe. So what I take on are things that can accommodate, or my current businesses can help out, grow. Boy, that guy snuck in here, didn't he?
He wants to be part of it.
He is part of it.
Everybody wants to be a part of Belwood.
I'm honored to do that.
I had a conversation with you the other day, and I don't know, we were talking about this sort of workload, and I said, well, maybe when things kind of slow down a little bit, I'll be able to tackle this thing. And you said, that's the thing, bro. He's like, it's not going to slow down.
It's not.
No.
So I use the analogy leveling up. So the way I consider this is we are in a steady motion of accelerating up, right? And I feel it's like steps. You take steps in your business. But our steps have the same distance, potentially, between each other, but our landing is very short, giving us immediate growth to the next step, inching over the corner, taking a breath, saying, wow, we're doing $750,000 homes already. Okay, and then going up, whoa, now our average is 1.5. And just taking these breaks, short breaks. So it's this accelerated growth with very little plateau or very little landing, which I was told, by my fourth year that you would hit a plateau, fifth year, we're going on our seventh year. We have something that obviously works, and we're at continued growth, steady growth. But there's very little, well, let's enjoy the view here because our view keeps changing. Our lives keep changing. We keep leveling up. We keep doing better. We keep building more and more relationships. So, is there time for a break? No, there really isn't. There really isn't. But the ride along the way is a pleasant one, I feel. Yeah. And I'm trying to create that, with the Belwood family is like, hey, this is an adventure that we're on because this is not like your typical company. There's nothing that we can base Belwood on, right? There's not like, oh, this is an insurance company, but we just have a couple tweaks to it to make it cool. No, this is not an insurance company. This is not a real estate investment trust. This is a different type of animal, which there is none like it. So with that being said, what we are doing is pioneering this new realm, if you will. And we're doing it together, and it's an adventure, and it's filled with ideas, and it's filled with failures, right? That give us, strength to kind of navigate. Well, we're not going to do that again, right? Well, we've learned from that valuable lessons.
Yeah.
But along the way, relationships are built, right? Like with you and with some of our new lenders and some of our new investors. Like, this is just great things. So, do we want to take a break when we know there's so much growth potential? See, I don't want to.
No. And I'm not suggesting a break. I just thought things are like, give me an opportunity to like catch up. But I feel like weekly I'm having to reevaluate how.
So it's not, you're not going to be able to catch up. You're going to have to bring on people to help you catch up.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
For sure.
I'm just adjusting and adapting along the way. And I haven't been with the company very long. But tagging on to the private conversation you and I had earlier is that knowing that, the future is really exciting. Yeah, really exciting.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I'm super excited.
Yeah,
I don't set an alarm to wake up. Right, when you're working for a company, and you may have this because you may not have the passion that I have. This passion in me that just wakes me up super early in the morning. I love it. It's either that or my babies that wake me up. but mostly Belwood and God, right? So let me take the focus off that. So I wake up in the morning knowing I have such a gift. Not me personally, but I was given a gift, a platform, and it's Belwood. And it's the families that are supported by Belwood, and it's the investors, and it's the contractors, and it's everybody. And it's really like tremendous to see all this growth, and it's just a blessing. So I'm able to wake up just energized, ready to go, and not have to set an alarm. Now, when you're working for another company, I'm just going to throw a company out there. Let's say Verizon or Ford or I don't know, just a Fortune 500 company. And unless you're like executive level, and if you're at executive level, you probably have such a workload that's just stressing you out, high level decisions, but you're going to have to set your alarm because there's something missing there. It's not yours. It's like another baby crying. Like when it's your baby, you wake up. Like there's nothing that can stop you. You're just a weird parent if your baby's cry doesn't wake you up. Like you probably shouldn't be a parent. And I really mean that. Your baby's cry is like innate feature for us to wake up. It's like God's alarm clock, with a baby so they can get fed or whatever they need. Now, if it's somebody else's baby, no problem. I'm got that locked off. Yeah. You know what I mean? That thing, hey, I might wake up, somebody better handle that, And so, but Belwood is my baby. Mm-hmm. And I don't, when my baby, like Grace, cries or Boston cries, I don't get angry. Like, oh my God, they've gone to the bathroom again, need to be changed. Like it's none of that. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely none of that. And so Belwood, when there's like a boo-boo or something, like we've had a bad employee or just, a bad review or whatever, there's something like that, I don't get mad at it. I get frustrated. I get exhausted. But I want to fix it. I have the passion in me to like make it better.
Right. Yeah.
So Belwood it's my business baby.
Okay. So speaking of growth and change.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we allowed to talk about the new office?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a part of growth, right? That's part of growth. Yeah. And the fact is, it's like inching up over. We still have our Sacramento office that's like 7,000 square feet or something, and just a behemoth of an office that we still, that's a big chunk of money. But good news, we have somebody that's willing to take on the lease.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be able to cut our lease in half or less than half, and then that's where our escrow company is going to go. Now, the money saved there will be exactly what we're paying down here. So
yeah, let's talk about down here and what down here means.
Okay.
Location.
Okay.
City.
Yeah.
The view.
The View. What is that? Dock of the Bay?
Was that a Bill Whithers song? I don't think so, but
yeah, I'm not going to sing because I'm a horrible singer. But there's a lot of songs that an inspiration that come from office locations like this. And if I could sing and make music, I bet you I could come up with a beautiful song because it's in a magical location.
It is. I would say it's one of the locations that if you could say you could live or have a dream spot in Orange County, it would be Newport Harbor.
So here,
did I spoil it?
No. So we have a new property, a new office coming. It's on Mariners Mile in Newport Beach, and it's on the water, right? So it's our office deck and yachts in the harbor. So it's very, very majestic and beautiful. And I had just kind of in my mind, kind of an idea of what I wanted this to look like, right? And here it is, right? It wasn't me that did that. Like that was literally a gift. So I imagined it. I imagined a glass partition. This is just kind of with views of the water and open floor plan where everybody's communicating, everybody's talking, nice, clean, bright, white, just Newport Beach. And it's exactly that.
Wow.
100% that. And it was almost like too good to be true because the lady had given me the wrong suite number. She had said 211. And so we went to 211, and there's this weird guy who thinks he's like big in real estate, which apparently is. He's like Justin Bieber's realtor, and I don't know, whatever. Dude, the dude was coked out of his brain. Like, I'm like, dude, like, if you're getting stars to use you to buy real estate, like, then this is going to be easy down here because we run a straight ship, transparent ship, and it's like the real deal. So I look forward to like getting all these amazing clients because how more comfortable are they going to feel like dealing with a company like ours? So, needless to say, we went to that suite, and it was cute, but it was so small. But it was amazing. It had great views and everything, and it had a kitchen and a little meeting room, but it didn't have the glass partition. And so I was like, this will do. And it was affordable, too. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, this is where we go when we don't want our wives around. Or what. Like, it was like kind of like man cavey a little bit on the water, like rich man cavey. And so, which we're like, whatever. And so we were kind of tossing around, and Meg was like, yeah, it's okay, but, and I felt the same way. And then the agent said, no, it's not that one. You got to go back up there. It's 211. You got it wrong. And I'm like, pretty sure I saw 211 on the door. So I went back up there. I'm like, hey, Karen, it's 211. You brought me to the same place. She goes, no way. She goes, do I have it written wrong in the catalog? And I'm like, well, you tell me. And so sure enough, she did. And so this had been going unseen by people that had been going and looking like that.
Whoa.
And I was able to put in an offer because it had been sitting for a while. It's a sublease. Basically, it was going for $7,800. I got it for like 35% less or more. And but it has the glass partition. And it's exactly what I pictured. It wasn't that. And so I was kind of like bummed a little bit, but stoked and then all of a sudden, it was just aligned. Wow. So that's coming up, and it's going to be great for meetings and presentations. So if you see some marketing about Belwood presentations, this is going to be an awesome place to come visit. Maybe not to listen to me, maybe to look at the yachts, but whatever. It's a cool spot. For sure.
Awesome.
And you'll have a spot there.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So you'll be able to probably get a hold of me a little bit easier in there. So
yeah, I won't bug you too much.
I don't mind. That's why I'm there, right? That's why I'm there.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Is there anything else that you want to cover? I mean, I know there's always a lot of things happening. Those are the major ones.
Jeez, man, what else to cover? Well, I did successfully negotiate, and we are in contract, the acquisition for Bayside's new church in Orange County.
Right, yeah.
$10 million. It was $14,750 14 million, and then went to 14.5. They had a cash offer at 14.1, weren't able to take it because they have a tenant on this property that takes up half, but this new buyer at cash wanted all of it. So they weren't able to take it out. So it sat on the market for a little bit. We went in there. I've secured it at $10 million. The sellers aren't super happy about that, but that's just kind of how there had to be a loser, and we're winners here. And so in the name of Jesus, so we secured it, and I'll be assigning the contract over to Bayside, and they'll be taking it down. And just an amazing place to worship and thank God for all the gifts and everything. So Megan has just been crushing it with how much work she has done. Credited all of her commission, $150,000. Megan just tithed $150,000 to this transaction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then I negotiated it down $4 million. So we put that together. We're at 4.1. That's a nice tithe. We're going to heaven. We don't base it on that, but you know what I mean? But hey, I'll take that one's in the bag right there. We're not going to talk about it other than in this circle, but right here. But I think that's a pretty cool tithe.
Yeah.
That puts us up there. Yeah. So I feel better when that bucket goes around and I don't have any cash on me. I do recurring tithing, but when that bucket goes around and everybody's kind of looking at Bo and I'm like passing it right by, I'm like, hey, dude, I'm on the app. I got this reoccurring. Now we're going to get buckets that say Bo and Megan did. Yeah. It's not about that though. It's not about that.
I've been with you a few times where you've not in negotiation, but you've shared with me some of the negotiation things that you've done. And
sure.
I think one day you're going to have to write a book. I don't want to give you any more work to do, but
sure. Yeah.
I don't know how you negotiated from 14 million when somebody had a $14.1 million cash offer down to 10.
I know. It's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of skill built into that that I think that would be really valuable for a lot of people.
Math.
Yeah.
It's all math.
Yeah.
It's all math. And it's the understanding of it, and there's complexities with every property. It's like I consider Belwood. I consider myself like architect, designer. I consider myself like the plastic surgeon of real estate. Like I can make it better. I can turn it into different things. There's so many different aspects to a real estate property, to a physical, building, Now, obviously, there's a lot more in the human body, but there's these sections of, real estate that you just have to become familiar with and understand the complexities of that specific segment. And then once you understand all of those, and then in various types of markets, residential, commercial, construction management, marketing, all these things, right? Once you can kind of not master them, but have a very good understanding of them, then you're able to educate the other party. And you're also able to really, and I hate to say it, not take advantage of a difficult situation, but I'd be lying if that wasn't the situation. There is a winner and a loser in life, and I was designed to never lose. And with that, my investors get that same type of win, because if I lose, they lose, and if they lose, I lose, and I'm just not a loser. I've been a loser at one point in my time, probably more than once, and I just don't do it anymore. Okay, that I've gotten that out of my system, if you will. Now, I'm not saying I won't fail in some areas, but I won't be a loser at it. I'll always find some way to win.
Yeah.
And in these situations, somebody or something or an entity may have come across some sort of hardship. But at the end of the day, when they sign on the dotted line, there's nobody holding a gun to their head. There's nobody forcing them to do that. And what I feel is by them being able to sign on that dotted line, I've provided them an exit to something that was holding them up. And in doing so, I created a win situation for our investors and for our, and by our investors, they are invested in their own investments, but with Belwood. I've created an opportunity for them to invest and be successful, and that's just what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And you do it really well.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's, a plastic surgeon. He's got especially one that does like the whole body, noses and breasts and bellies. And I mean, you really have to know about that whole body. Now, you may not need to know about the whole mammary reproduction or the whole gastric system or anything like that, but more the soft tissue but it's still that area. And same thing with me. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of electrical work. Like, I've done some electrical work, very minor, and been shocked enough to say, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to let this up to the pros, like leave it up to them. But enough to get by. And not only get by, but enough to assess the value associated with that work.
Yeah.
And so, and know who's the best to perform it. And by knowing those numbers, you're able to avoid people taking money or cookies out of the cookie jar. And that gives you in the same principle of a dollar saved is a dollar earned. And the more of those, the better our investors are.
Yeah.
Our investors win, we win. It's a simple process.
That's the one thing when I talk to people about investing in Belwood is I want to share the confidence that I have with the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is at first glance, we're like, oh, this is really risky. But then when you kind of understand the whole thing, like, how do I get in on it?
Well, it's the unknown, right? So our
course.
job is to educate people. Now, the principle of Belwood's been around forever. People have been doing joint venture agreements, and it's been a handshake deal. It's been a contract deal. It's, hey, let's do this job together because it's easier that way. It's a joint venture. Now, what we do is we just have, put fuel on that fire and streamlined it and built out these relationships. These ventures are put together by these resources that we've been able to build up over, since I've been doing this since 2007, like the end of 2007 when it crashed. That's when I started. So imagine all those relationships that I've built over the years and the ones that I've strengthened. There's been relationships that were good and they are no longer good, but we've kept going on because we understand when it's time to say goodbye. And that's just because of experience. Same thing with the plastic surgeon. Hey, these ones are too far gone. We're going to have to reconstruct all this, or whatever part of the body that is. And they know when to let go of certain things. And so Belwood, since I started, this principle of real estate investing, we've learned, we've grew, and we've been able to create these relationships that maximize the true potential of a real estate investment. Because if you don't have those relationships, but you may have a couple of other skills, then it only takes one of them to take the money out of it. Thousands of dollars. Could be the realtor, could be the contractor, could be the electrician, could be anybody.
Yeah.
And so unless that electrician goes in there, you might know plumbing, you might know roofing, you might know an agent who's giving you all the best, but that agent might know and not know that electrician. You might not know that electrician. That electrician just went in there and said, yep, we got to rewire your 1990 home, which would never need to be rewired unless something catastrophic happened, like a fire. But it's going to cost you $25,000. Well, you may have only had $20,000 in profit on this small thing, and now this electrician just took it because it's subjective. There's no rule for this size house. It costs this much for an electrician. That electrician go in there, and whatever you agree to is what it cost. So unless you know the costs associated with each segment in that entire project, from county fees to landscaping fees, you're gonna lose money. So that's why Belwood's here, because we got all those relationships.
Yeah.
And we've whittled it down to where it's fair for them and it's fair for us.
It's one of the things that I call like the Belwood advantage, the Belwood,
It is the Belwood advantage.
Advantage, yeah.
It's taking advantage of our relationships. It's the democratization of real estate investment. It's not the loss of real estate. It's not the worry of real estate investment. It's bringing this real estate investments to everybody and letting them be successful, or giving them the opportunity to be successful rather than throwing them to the wolves. There are so many educational programs out there. It's crazy. And some of them, these guys, they're investors with us and whatnot, and they tell me the horror stories. And some of our investors are people that pitch these programs.
Nope.
You know who you are. and they pitch them, and then they don't do anything or help them out along the way. They're saying, hey, pay $25,000. We're going to meet and talk. We're going to show some things up on thing. We're going to say how to open escrow, what houses to look for, this and that, how to negotiate, right? And it's a general rule of thumb program. And then they're like, okay, thanks for your $25,000. And then if you have any questions, you can email this, you can call this 24-hour hotline to help you out, and blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
And that is where they lose, because they need somebody to hold their hand. Think about a baby walking across the street. It's like, oh, okay, you can walk now. You've learned how to stand up. You can walk a couple steps. Okay, there's the freeway. We'll see you on the other side. It's good over there. People make a lot of money over there. But you're like, I just learned how to stand up.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah. Like there's trucks coming at me. There's limousines. There's helicopters overhead. And each one of these could take you out. And they don't care. Call that 1-800 number. We'll get you through to the other side. Well, it doesn't work like that. So Belwood holds their hand across. It says, hey, we're going to navigate across this freeway together, because if you don't make it across, I don't make it across. And if I don't make it across, you don't make it across. So I'm in the game of surviving. So we're going to wait until 3 a.m. when there is zero traffic on this freeway, and we're going to safely cross this, because I've done this 2,500 times before, and that's the best time to cross the freeway. If you cross between these times and these times, you're going to get hit. Cross between these times and these times, you're going to get hit. If you see this truck, watch out. If you see this truck, duck. If you see this limousine, run the other way, because that's what I've done. That's what I've learned. And so it's that principle of us helping them and doing it with them versus educating them and setting them to the wolves.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be a little biblical on you and bring it back to that. It's almost like shepherding.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's in my best interest for everybody here to stay alive.
Sure. Uh-huh.
It's not, the coyote, bringing guys across the desert, and something goes wrong and everybody's dead. They just ditch. No, that's not. That's a toxic, bad thing. Yeah. This is, hey, we're in this together. I just have done it a lot of times. I'm the I don't call it the shepherd. I call it the captain of the boat. I've been across some pretty tumultuous waters. Like I started in the recession, right? Flipping homes, and before that I was a mortgage broker. So what happened was like, I learned at the worst time. So I jumped in this industry when people were crashing and sinking. I started, okay, let me learn this. And so I was able to navigate across all this tumultuous water and craziness to a more desirable real estate market where we started making a lot of money. Now I learned how to make money in the downturn, which not many people are going to be able to survive, because they've been so used to this movement. And when they see this movement, they're going to say, so you mean I'm not able to offer you more than market value because I saw a trend going like this, and that way in 6 months, because of the trend, my home will be worth this because of this trend mark. Not taking account this, right? The slow descent of a real estate market. People say, well, it's been like this for the last 10 years. Yeah. And now you're done. And all that money you made, you've been losing because haven't been watching the market, and you've been paying more for these houses, and you've been paying more, and now you're going to get less. And if you're paying more and getting less than what you wanted, that is a combination of disaster. So then you have to have a plan B. What are you going to do with these overpriced homes? Can you cash flow as a rental? Well, no, you paid too much for it because of this movement in the market. So I learned at the very beginning how to navigate such a crazy market and how to capitalize on a downturn market. You just see the direction that we're going, calculate for future movement in that direction, calculate your cost for that project according to that decline. And then understand, okay, well, I have 1 year to sell this house. And if it takes 2 years and we're on this type of decline, well, I didn't take into account 2 years decline. I took into account 1 year decline. So you have to say, okay, well, we have to combine this with, interest rates. Are these homes affordable, and are we on a declining market? Because if interest rates are going up and the market's going down, well, that's a crazy market. So these things I've been able to look at and to identify through my traversing of these waters. So I learned in the beginnings, have been a part of the upswing, but I'm waiting for that bottom swing. And I know how to navigate those waters. I've done it before. So when you are a part of a real estate investment and somebody's like, yeah, I learned in 2010 how to flip homes. So you've never been a part of a recession. You've never been, oh yeah, well, remember the pandemic? That was nothing. That increased values. That was not a bad thing. So, and then the correction from that was just getting back to normal pace. Maybe, the market crashed. No, it just came back to normal.
Yeah.
So these people, they just don't understand it. And so if I'm going to go on the Carnival Cruise Line, never would I have been once, and it was just like a crazy mess. So nothing against Carnival, but I probably would go on a Disney one now. So if you go on a cruise and you're depending on this guy to get you from here to the Bahamas or wherever, and we encounter a tornado or hurricane. And he goes, Italian accent. Typically, they have Italian accents. But he's, okay, we are now encountering a hurricane. I've never seen one of these. Hold on. Like, do you want that? No. I want somebody to say, ladies and gentlemen, I see a hurricane about 1,000 miles ahead. We're going to steer a different direction because we don't want to go through there. Now, if it's like, oh, well, this hurricane's quickly accessing us and we need to make adjustments. I have been through this before. Many, many times. I know how to do this. You guys are all safe. Enjoy your trip. Know that I am the one that will take you across here. Mm-hmm. So just enjoy your time. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. I've done this before. I would be like, cool, man. My man Mario up there has got this. He's been through these. Versus, the latter, right? Yeah. Like, oh my God. So Belwood's been through these. Like, hey, not saying you're not going to get some rock another ship, but you're going to get off of it safely.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to say. The shepherd or boat captain.
Okay.
We only have one shepherd, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. Yeah, but you can model yourself after that, though, too.
I do, right? Yeah. As much as I can.
Yeah. Okay, I think that was a lot.
Well, yeah. We didn't think we'd have some content. We did.
We have plenty.
We have a great time talking with each other.
So the next one most likely will be in the new space, hopefully. Yeah.
It will be. It will be in Newport Beach.
It'll be very different than this.
It will be very different. Yeah. It'll be much more bright. You'll probably see a beautiful yacht out back and... It'll be really cool. Yeah. So that'll be the 25th episode, and look forward to you guys meeting with us and hanging out. And until then, it's Big Moves Podcast. We'll see you next time.